Going on, everyone? Welcome to the More Deals webinar. We got the boys coming up shortly. Thanks for getting in the room early. Starting this about 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. What's up, Michael? What's going on? Everybody in the chat, I want you to type in those 2025 goals. Everyone in the chat, 2025 goals. I want to make sure everyone is saying what's up to Aaron and Jose when they get on this stage. This is 100% live, everybody. They will be answering questions live, strategies live, everything you guys need to succeed in 2025. Everybody, we're about to start shortly. Aaron Novello is in the building. Getting ready for y'all. Again, in the chat, goals for 2025 in the chat. Got 35 people in the room so far. Everybody in the chat, once you guys get hype again, I want everybody asking questions. We are 100% live today. Jose, give me all everything you guys need to know to drive. Let's go. Let's go, Jim. 50 deals. Again, I don't want anybody being shy today. Everybody, let's blow up that chat. I want everybody asking questions. Again, Aaron and Jose are to provide extraordinary amounts of value for you guys. Anything that's on your mind, anything you have trouble with in your real estate business. But for now, I need everybody typing their 2025 goals in that chat. 53 people in here. I know we got goals. Welcome in everybody. 61 people. I need 61 goals in that chat. Everybody in the chat. 25 goals. I want everybody watching. $20-25 goals in that chat, ladies and gentlemen. Dancing in the background right now. He's ready for y'all. Let's go.
Every single one's got a story to tell. Everyone knows about it. From the Queen of England to the hounds of hell. And if I catch it coming back my way, I'm gonna serve it to you. And that ain't what you want to hear, but that's what I'll do. And the feeling coming from my bones says find a home.
What up? What up? How's everybody doing out there? Hope you're doing well. Man, watching that video, Jose, I'm getting excited, bro. We're about to do that again. We're about to have a next level event, and we get to hang out and have a good time, man. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. We get to play some basketball, too.
Come on. Hey, we can do that. Play a little pickleball. We can do that, too. So I want to make sure that this is like a super powerful, effective use of everybody's time. You know, me and Jose really pride ourselves on giving people tangible tactics, because most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. Mindset is like, you know, it's a component of what we're doing, and it'll be a component of what we're talking about today. But we really want to equip you with tactical information that you can deploy to actually get the outcomes that you want. You know, because what I'm aware of is 2023 and 2024 for a lot of agents was a very challenging 24 months.
I would agree with that.
100%. We had the cost of money double, right? Which makes demand shrink. We had, as a result, a radical shift in transaction volume, right? We went from 6.5 million transactions to 3.9. And we had 2 years of that in a row. A high degree of probability we'll have around 4 million this year. And, you know, as such, if you're utilizing the same exact approaches and techniques that you were using prior to the last 2 years and expecting something different to happen, that is an inaccurate assessment of reality. That is like saying that gravity's not real and jumping off a cliff. You're about to find out real quick if it's real or not. So our intention today is really to equip you with everything you need, not only from a perspective of, hey, what is actually working in the marketplace? Like, where are deals being done? And we have a very clear picture of that, because not only did Jose did 120 deals last year for over $2 million in GCI, I have the good fortune coaching some of the top agents around the country and internationally into our growing organization of 450 plus, like as it continues to grow out. So we know what's working in the marketplace. And then we're also going to talk about mindset, a little bit about mindset, how you need to be thinking about this, right? Because there's two different things. There's dirts and clouds, right? A lot of people have a tendency to want to hang out in the clouds. That's CRM systems, processes and procedures, watching YouTube videos. And then there's dirt. And we're going to get into dirt and how Jose hung out in the dirt for all of 2024. And despite the fact that his marketplace went down 50%, he still did more transactions and made the same amount of money as he did in the year previous. So that's a huge win. And we're also going to, really equip you with, again, these proven lead strategies that we know are actually working and producing outcomes, and the schedule that you should be utilizing in your business, and some marketing techniques and tactics that we're using to produce the outcomes that we're producing. So as we get into that, for those of you who don't know me or Jose, that is our bad. My bad. We need to do a better job of banging on media. So a quick introduction. I will introduce myself. Jose can do himself. I've had the good fortune of being in the real estate industry for almost 20 years now. I sold real estate for 17 personally. I did 100 transactions a year, 10 years in a row. I did 200 transactions a year twice. 80% of that business is listings sold. I have a coaching company for over a decade, teaching agents how to grow and scale their business, primarily through listing property and high volume. It was recently named by Housing Wire, the top 25 coaching programs for agents in 2025. I used to own part of an office. I sold it back prior to participating with EXP in the Model and the Opportunity. And in 2 years and 8 months, I've attracted 400 agents to the company. So that's why we would want to maybe pay attention to what I have to say. How about you, Jose?
So I've been in the industry for about 15 years. I've sold almost 1,000 homes in my career. I've been the #1 sellers agent in Ventura County for the last 7 years, which means that I've represented more sellers than anybody else, which means 99% of my business is listings based. I also own about 57 rentals that will generate in about a year and a half over 7 figures a year. And I am in the dirt right now, meaning I am still actively selling real estate, and I've had to make a lot of adjustments, which we'll be talking about today, over the last couple of years, not to survive, but to thrive. And that's what we want to do for you guys. We want to make sure that you guys, if you're in the business, that you're not only surviving, but that you are thriving at a very high level.
That's right. Getting your unfair share. And that's why this session that you've chosen to spend some of your time, which is your most valuable commodity. Thank you, by the way, for choosing to spend some of your time with us, is so important, guys, because I believe 2025 will be very similar to 2024. Last year, I'm sure you guys all saw all of these posts, and this is where we can talk about the current market landscape. We saw all of these posts, guys. Everybody's yelling and screaming. All these gurus in real estate, guys, interest rates are going to come down. They're going to come down. Be ready. They're going to come down. Get ready. They're coming down. Anybody notice that didn't happen? Didn't come down at all. Nope. And in fact,
they went up.
Yeah. The reason why that happened is if you understand economics, because I did a post, you can go back and look at it. That's the cool part about media. You can verify what people say. Okay. I did a post at the time and I'm like, that's funny. Because if you look historically, the last time the Fed funds rate was high for a decade, which that's what affects the 10-year treasury note, which ends up affecting interest rates. So people that were screaming that from the rooftops are demonstrating their lack of understanding of economics. They don't understand inflation. They don't understand the way money works. Now, why is that so important? Because let me ask you a question. If you heard people say that and you really wanted that to be true, you know what that would stop you from doing? To try to find a solution to when it isn't.
Yeah.
That makes sense? It's going to cause you to continue to keep doing the same things that you were doing previously. So what I'd like to do quickly is give you a brief idea of the landscape. Okay. Again, we discussed that transaction volume dropped from 6.5 million to 3.9. When me and Jose are in groups of agents and we ask them what was a better time to sell real estate, 2024 or 2008 during the Great Recession and financial collapse, almost uniformly, they will say 2024 is a better time to sell real estate. When in fact, statistically, data tells us that it was actually 2008 was a better time to sell real estate because there were more transactions that 2008 than in 2024. Like think about that for a second, guys. Like let that marinate into your brain. That's actually what's true. That's what the data tells us. So, thing that is true about the right now is 90% of all homeowners in the United States who have a mortgage have an interest rate less than 6%. 90%. 60% have an interest rate less than 4%. Those are called the facts. That is what is true. So, if that's the environment that we're in, we have to ask ourselves logical, practical questions. I know that everybody on this call, the vast majority of you will shop for 2 hours on Amazon to save $100. So why are we imagining that somebody's going to trade in their 3%, 4% interest rate for a 7% interest rate? They're not. The only people that are going to do that have to. Get clear on that, guys. The only people that are going to make that exchange, it's because they have to. There's some sort of life event. So again, context is everything. When I tell people that I did 100 transactions in 1 year and 75 were expireds, they apply that to today's world where you guys get 10 expireds a day. No, I was doing that when expireds were at a historical peak. There was never been a time where they were as high in 2009, 10, and 11. So it's like shooting ducks in a barrel. I would set like 4 appointments a day, cancel 3, go on 1. That's not the context that we're in, but here's the problem. You guys are listening to people that are telling you to do the same. It's not based on context. They're just recycling the same information all the time. Drop in the chat if that hits. Drop in the chat if you see that that's accurate. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's the landscape that we're in at the moment. We see a huge drop in transaction volume. We see interest rates staying high with a high degree of probability. And then we also see, again, the vast majority of homeowners have interest rates that are less than the current prevailing rate. Is there anything you want to add to that in terms of landscape, Jose?
Well, what I would just say, it's all about adapting, meaning that there was agents that were killing it during the REO market that would sell 100, 200 homes a year. All of a sudden, the marketplace shifts where there are no more REOs, and all of a sudden, their production shifts. Now, there are agents that did well in the REO market and did well when the marketplace shifted to a more traditional market. So, at least what I've seen is that the agents that do the best are the agents that are willing to adapt to today's current environment, whatever the environment is, and willing to make the adoption. If you're not willing to adopt, or if you're testing out strategies that worked in 2008, 2009, 2010, then it's going to be very challenging. And then you're going to imagine that there's something wrong with you, which in fact, a big part of the problem is that you just don't have the right strategy. And to just prove that point, like when Aaron was calling expires, it got to the point where the marketplace started to get better, expires started to dry out, and Aaron started hitting his head against the wall. And he did that for 2 to 3 months. And either he starts to be like the REO agents, oh man, the REOs are going to come back. I can't wait for the REOs to come back. When the REOs come back, everything's going to be great. You can do that. Or you can say, okay, look, the REOs are not coming back right now. What adjustments do I have to make to be able to thrive in today's marketplace? Make those adjustments. And that's what we're here to do today.
That's precisely right. And we always like to share with agents. Listen, it's not the fastest. It's not the quickest. It's not the strongest. It's not the prettiest. And it's not the smartest. It's the ones that are the most adaptable and responsive to change. Now, the reason why change is so incredibly difficult for us is because our brains are wired to perceive anything that's a change as a threat. And as such, money has an addictive quality. So because of it, we get addicted to the way that we receive it. So perhaps we've been receiving it in a previous way, and then the marketplace shifts, and we keep going back to that same well, like a dog to its vomit, expecting that to be different. When in fact, The dynamics have changed. The context of the environment has changed. And I'll give you this example. So there used to be a time on planet Earth when, all of the land was in one place, right? Well, then that changed. Yeah, over time, it changed to the current kind of setup that we have at the moment in terms of continents. Well, if I tried to apply the same strategy for the period when the land was one big mass to what it is now, that wouldn't work. If I tried to apply a strategy when it was much colder on planet Earth to the strategy today when it's much warmer, that would not work, guys. Every environment requires a very specific strategy. Just listening to these blanket strategies, you're going to get a blanket average outcome. What we're attempting to implore upon you is and really impress upon you is, listen, there are deals to be done. You can get your unfair share. You have to learn something new. And you do not get more because you want more. You get more because you become more. When I did the expires, like Jose was saying, I was banging, and I thought I was him. I did 100 deals one year, 75 were expires. People coming up to me events like, oh man, wanting autographs. You know what I'm saying? But then I recognized if you only have one source of business, you don't have a business. And it started to go away. So I had a choice. I could either suck my thumb and complain and blame, become a victim, blame this, blame that, blame whatever, or I could learn something new. For me, that was probate. I pivoted to that. That ended up being 50% of our business, and it allowed me to go from 100 deals to 200 deals. So the choice is yours, guys. You have a choice moment to moment, breath to breath on how you choose to respond to market conditions. Our suggestion is get a clear assessment of what's true and then begin to go with what's working. So what's working? Well, let's talk about some kind of strategies that you can adapt in a shifting market, in the context of what we're in right now. So if we know that 90% of everybody who has a mortgage has an interest rate less than 6%, and 60% of everybody who has a mortgage has an interest rate less than 4%, the only people that are going to sell have to. I think that's a fair assessment. I think we would all logically agree with that. Mm-hmm. So if that's what's true, let's think to ourselves logically. Because I love it when he does this. Well, who would have to sell?
Life events.
Life events, death, divorce, job relocation, moving to assisted living facilities, retirement. Motivation, if you break that word down, it means motive to take action, a reason for doing something. Now, you have a choice. You could either comb through the red oceans of the
So I think for whatever reason, I think Aaron froze. So I'll take over from here. So this is one of the challenges that I see from a lot of people. One of the challenges that I see is that a lot of the voices in real estate tell you to do the same things. And a lot of it is a thinking problem, how we think about our job as a real estate agent or our job as a realtor. A lot of it has to do with doing what everybody else is doing. So if you wanted to generate leads as a real estate agent, let me ask you this: how would you go about generating leads? I almost guarantee you that if I did a survey of how to generate leads as a real estate agent, 99% of the population, of the realtor population, would come with the same exact thing, meaning real estate agents would say, okay, I am going to call expireds. I am going to call for sale by owners. I am going to call just listed, just sold, or I am going to buy Zillow leads. That is the way that a real estate agent thinks about lead generation. Or I am going to do open houses. That's it. That's all, for whatever reason.
That's like the complete limit of the kind of thinking. And I understand why, because that's what that's what the biggest voices are telling you. Now, what I was saying is that you have a choice. You could either comb through all of those traditional sources to try to find those life event people, or guess what? You could just focus on the life events. You can target them, guys. Drop in the chat if that's logical and practical and makes sense. Yeah. You can actually target them specifically. So riches are in the niches. cultivating these niches. One of the things which is interesting, because when I look at Jose and we're constantly, we're talking on a regular, as we build, this organization out together and we're business partners and all that. And, we kind of look at what he's doing, and in his business, I'm like, well, the reason why you're getting those outcomes is because you're actually doing what we're talking about. You're targeting specifically sources that are life events.
Yeah.
And that have the highest degree of probability of finding those people who have to do something.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I made that shift very early on in my career, where in my market, there wasn't one source that I can take 100 listings a year from. So because there wasn't one source that I could take 100 listings a year, and that was my goal, I had to come up with a bunch of different sources where maybe I can get 30 from probate. Maybe I can get X from divorces, X from pre-foreclosures, X from this. And if you add them all up, it would add up to 100 plus listings a year. So here's a couple of different lists that you guys can target. And this is where you want to take down a pen or a pencil and you want to start writing it down. Okay. So a couple of the lists that you can target is probates. Probates are actually public record. So what is a probate? Somebody dies without a living trust. They have to go through a court process called probate. That is a public record process, meaning that all of the data is public records, meaning you can reach out to the attorneys, you can reach out to the administrators. If you're interested about learning about probates, my boy over here has a great course to teach you on that. Okay, that's one of the lists, right? Another list that you can reach out to is obituaries. So not all people that die don't have a living trust. So there is a certain segment of the population that has no living trust and they have to go through the probate process. But what happens if they pass away and they have a living trust? Then that's not going to go through the probate process. So you're not talking to them whatsoever. So what is a different way of targeting them? There is a company called successorsdata.org that tells you all of the properties that there's somebody that has passed away, and you can target people who have passed away that very likely had a living trust and are not going through the probate process. So now that is a life event. That is the entire market of death in two different segments. Do you guys think it's a good idea to touch base with these individuals? 100%. You can target divorces. Divorces are public records as well, too. Now, I would not recommend reaching out to divorces and be like, hey, I noticed that you're getting divorced. If you want to get yelled at, if you want to get screamed at, that would be the right approach to take. Or if you want to have a really shitty day, I would probably say that would be a good approach. The approach that we would recommend is, instead of calling a just listed, just sold list where you're calling 100 people maybe to generate 5 leads, call this group of people and just, hey, look, there's a shortage of inventory right now in the real estate market. Would you ever consider selling your property? Oh my God, funny that you should ask. I'm actually getting separated right now and I want to sell my property. Ding, ding, ding. Now, if they don't open up to you, I wouldn't suggest, hey, I noticed that you're getting divorced, but you're going to, instead of talking to 100 people and getting 3, you might talk to 10 people and get 5 leads, which makes your time a lot more efficient. There's tax liens, there's pre-foreclosures. All of these are public records, guys. There is affidavits of death, which means a change in the title. There is a bunch of different lists that you guys can target. If you guys want a complete list of everything that you can target, you may want to attend the Do More Deals Summit that we have coming up in Florida, February 13th and February 14th.
100%. I agree. We're going to be going way more in depth. We're just giving you surface stuff right now. So what I'm aware of is, as you were saying that, I was thinking a lot of people may be thinking oh, well, this source works for them, but it's not going to work for me. Well, we have multiple different instances. So Heath, who's a member of our organization, he's on my team. I taught him probate. He did 21 probate deals last year as a part-time agent, full-time cop. Aisha in our organization was we were on a call and there were tears, man. It was tough. I know a lot of you guys have experienced that over the last 24 months with the transaction volume dropping so much. And I was like, hey, we got this opportunity for you. We got this course for you. It'll teach you in depth what to say and how to say it. In 60 days, she's taken 2 listings and it equals $37,000 in revenue. Guys, what we're telling you, we know is true, just like we know the sky is blue and the grass is green. Now, the challenge is we can't do it for you. Like, you have to take the initiative to come to an event. You have to take the initiative to get involved in a course. Like, you have to gather the specialized knowledge that you need to be able to produce the outcomes that you want. Okay. So we know that this stuff works. Now, what would be a schedule that you need to pay attention to and kind of follow in, 2025 to make sure you get your unfair share of the business? Well, when me and Jose first started working together way back in the day, when he was a 26-year-old little pup, he would come to me and he's like, hey man, what schedule should I follow? Now, I said to him, very simple, because I want you to be clear, guys. We are in a season of dirt. Okay. When the marketplace is fantastic and you got 6-7 million deals and people fogging a mirror can get a loan and everybody's buying and interest rates are low, you don't have to be in the dirt that often to make the money that you want. Okay. You can make 6 figures kind of just futzing around wearing flip-flops and showing up. And a really strong market, which is what we had for probably 10 years in a row, it masks incompetency. There's a lot of agents out there that thought they were hot stuff, and they are getting a brisk blow of cold air in their face because it's showing them like, nah, dude, like that had more to do with the market than it did you. Okay. So clouds, just so you're clear, are, kind of thinking about strategy, kind of CRMs, like things like that. Dirt is rolling up your sleeves and going to work. That's dirt. Dirt is pushing and shoving. Dirt is prospect, lead, follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate deals. Dirt is handling objections. Dirt is when they say to you, hey, Jose, we have one more interview left. Thanks for stopping by. We'll let you know on Monday. That's dirt. Dirt is presenting offers that come in less than asking, right? Dirt is pre-qualifying appointments. So we're in a season of dirt, guys, and you have to understand that if we have gone from 6.5 million to 3.9 million transactions, does it seem like a mature, realistic expectation that you could not put forth more time?
I think we got to help out Aaron. So if you guys are open to starting a GoFundMe account to help Aaron pay for better internet, drop in the chat. I am willing to help Aaron pay for internet so that we can have a proper presentation. Okay. So what Aaron was saying was just about that right now with the volume dropping tremendously, more than 50% of my market, we have to make adjustments and we have to adapt. If we don't make adjustments and we don't adapt, then obviously that's going to be a challenge for us. We were also talking about the schedule. Like, so what schedule of a top producer would somebody need to have to be able to produce the outcomes that they want? So this is something that I learned very early on. And I think this is one of the biggest challenges that most realtors have, is that they don't treat real estate as a real business, meaning that they show up whenever they want, they take off whenever they want, they eat lunch whenever they want. They basically don't have any set schedule. So one of the things that we incorporated, or that Aaron incorporated, helped me incorporate, was he asked me very early on, he said, what amount of money would you like to make in real estate? And I said, okay, well, I want to make X amount of dollars. I said, I want to make $1 million a year. And what he asked me, and he was like, look, if you want to make $1 million a year, what would that person, who would that person look like? Meaning, like, what time would that person wake up at? Like, hey, if I want to make $1 million a year, would that person be waking up at 12 o'clock in the day? Probably not. Probably get started really early on. He's like, what would that morning routine look like for that individual? He's like, would that individual practice? What would he practice? How many times a week would he practice? How many times a day would he practice? Would that individual that wants to make $1 million a year, would that individual prospect? He's like, how many hours a day would he prospect? How many people would he talk to? Would that person be more buyers based or more listings based? How many listing appointments would that person need to go on? So what ended up happening is that what he made me realize that was, in order to do more or reach the goals that I wanted to do, I needed to become more. And by me becoming more and making adjustments, not to the way that I want it to be, but that are more in line with the way that reality is, I was able to capture more of the marketplace. I'll give you guys an example. We have my brother-in-law here who was like, look, I'm not getting much business from expireds. I'm like, okay, what time are you calling them at? He's like, oh, well, I'm calling them at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, hey, what if I told you that there's people calling them at 7:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning? And that part of the reason why you're not getting any business because you're like the 40th call. And by the time you're calling them, they are over talking with real estate agents. And he's like, oh, makes the adjustment. All of a sudden, his approach is more in line with what the marketplace is required of him. All of a sudden, starts setting appointments for expired listings magically. Right?
Yeah. So the idea is like you want to schedule. You can tell the power of a schedule based on the results that it produces. I'm going to say that again, not because you didn't hear me, but because it's a nugget. You can tell the power of a schedule based on the outcomes that it produces. So look at your schedule and see the outcomes you're producing and be like, okay, is that in alignment with what I actually want? And being that we know that all the leverage is on the listing side, being that we know that, all the money's in knowing how to sell the service, you know what I'm saying? Then it would make sense that my schedule be reflective of that. So what I would propose is for the next 12 months, this is the schedule that you follow. You are up sometime with a 5 in front of it. I don't care whether it's 5:30, 5:45, 5:55. Most of you sleep in like you're independently wealthy. You're not. Okay? So something with a 5 in front of it. I would do something physical with your body every day. Fear is a visceral experience, but so is courage. You have to train courage into your body. Okay? If you start the day doing something difficult, the rest of the day is going to be pretty easy. The second thing I would do is I would put something good into my mind. You could be listening to something. You could be reading something. I personally spend about an hour a day reading. The next thing I would do is I would have something nutritious that's light for breakfast, not ham, eggs, and bacon and like 2 pieces of toast and French toast. You're going to want to go back to sleep. Something light. Then I would do some affirmations and incantations, right? Then I would write out short-term and long-term goals. Part of the issue is a lot of you guys come to me and Jose and you're like, hey, I'm burnt out. I'm like, dude, you're not a candle. Candles burn out. You have inside of you the same force that makes the earth go around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. You have the same force inside of you that makes birds fly and grass grow. That does not burn out. The reason why you're saying burnout is because you've lost focus on the reasons why you're doing this. So keep it in front of you all the time, short-term, long-term goals. And then you get on, and then you do some role playing before you get on the phone. Right? Role play for 30 minutes and practice the stuff that you're not good at, guys. Most of you guys, we do that role play group. It's free. You want to hop on and like run through the stuff that you know. You know why you want to do that? Because it's comfortable. You're not going to get better that way. When I was teaching Jose and me and him were role playing together on a regular basis, he would constantly come to me with the stuff that he wasn't working on, that he wasn't good at. He'd be like, dude, they keep telling me they want to think about it. And I keep falling on my face. Like, I don't know how to handle it. So for 30 days, that's all we did every time we spoke. That's it. Maybe longer, 90 days. That's all we did. And then you come back to me and be like, dude, I'm having a hard time getting price reductions. Like I get uncomfortable. I don't know how to ask and like this and that. So that's all we would work on. So role play regularly. Then you want to get on the phone. You want to be time on task for 3.5 to 4 hours a day. Time on task, meaning not you saying, yeah, I've been prospecting for 3 hours, but it consisted of 30 minutes and a 20-minute break because you got lost and chased down squirrels on YouTube or on your email or try to answer questions about a deal that's pending because you're checking your email. No, time on task in front of prospective clients in the presence of prospects for 3.5 to 4 hours a day. Most of you guys, you don't have anything else to do, guys. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. Now, that'll take you to probably like noon, 11:30 noon. I would role play again. Role play the listing presentation. Most of you guys unconsciously are timid and meek in setting appointments. You're not aggressive because you don't know what to say if you would set one. I promise you, bro, you practice listing presentation every day, just like practice a free throw 1,000 times. You want to be put in the game and you want to play. That's what you want to do.
Yeah. Because you know you're going to win.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, like, hey, yeah, I can execute on that. I've been doing that all the time. So I would do that. Then I would do like 30 minutes of admin, whatever that is. Answer emails, whatever, check messages, That takes you to the afternoon. In the afternoon, you only have a handful of choices, guys. Most of you guys get stuck because you give yourself too many choices. The first choice is if you have an appointment, you go on it. The second choice is to practice more. Let's operate under the assumption that you are not practicing enough. Let's operate under that assumption. Okay. The third option is to prospect more. If you have nothing else to do, go and be in the presence of prospects again. Yeah. The fourth thing you could do is, if you're newer, is go preview property, because you don't know the marketplace. And it'll help you when you call into places and you're like, oh yeah, like I was in that home down the street, right? And that's the only options and choices that you have, guys. That's it. Now, anybody can do that schedule that I just described to you 1 day a week. They can do it 2 or 3 days a week. Very, very few can do it 5, 6, 7 days a week consistently. Yeah, 5 to 6, let's say, because you get 1 day of rest. If it's good for, the Bible's good for me. You get 1 day of rest, 6 days of work. Okay, that's the schedule you guys should be following for all of 2025, with no exceptions.
Yeah.
Now I'm noticing you nodding, Jose. So what's here's what's wild. I think people think, Jose, that you don't follow that anymore. When the truth is, we were talking and you're like, yeah, dude, like my marketplace is down 50%. And you're like, yeah, I haven't missed a day of prospecting in the whole year, like every day that I worked. And I haven't missed a week, an evening of prospecting every single day that in 2024.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because a couple of reasons. One is I'm very connected to the why, meaning like I know why I'm doing the business that I'm doing. And I think one of the things that I do well is whenever I goal set, I actually spend the money in advance. What I mean by that, like if I have a goal to make $1 million, I'm like, okay, what am I going to use this $1 million for? And I have reasons. I'm going to need $1.2 million to build 6 ADUs on one apartment complex. I know that I need the money to be able to produce. Funny, I was talking to an agent one time and he was like, look, he's like, I want to buy a rental property. I'm like, what would that cost? He's like, I don't know. Like, what would your mortgage be? I don't know. What would your cash flow be? I don't know. I'm like, look, dude, you have no idea what you're shooting for. Like, you're like, it sounds cool. And to most people that you tell, hey, I want to buy a rental property, they're going to be like, dude, that's awesome. But you have no idea. You haven't broken down the goal. Like, you're not connected in any way, shape, or form to it, So I think that's one of the things. The other thing is why I was nodding my head is I believe that the foundation of the business is knowing what to say and how to say it. If you learn what to say and how to say it, you can convert at a much higher level. And with very limited leads, you can just convert a lot more of those leads, which means that you're a lot more profitable. And that's one thing that I learned very early on, that I needed to get really good as to what to say and how to say it. And in order for me to do that is I needed to practice 2 to 3 times a day, 6 days a week. And if you take the time to be able to do that, your business will be protected, almost like a moat, because regardless of what's going on in the market, you know what to say and how to say it, which means you know how to convert leads. I was on a listing appointment 2 days ago, and the seller was like, look, I have an agent that I'm considering already that I was recommended to him. Like, would you ever consider getting a different opinion prior to signing up? I go there, I meet with her. She's like, look, I have the agent that I'm considering, but I'm open to getting a second opinion. We go over the different things that we can do to help her, and she hires me on the spot. Imagine if I didn't know what to say and how to say it. Oh, that agent didn't know what to say and how to say it because she had already met with her.
Yeah.
And was not able to execute on that agreement. And because I was able to execute, now that's $17,000. We both spent the same amount of time. We both went on the same appointment. One of them was able to execute. The other person was not. Think about how valuable that is.
It's huge, bro. It makes all the difference in the world. So Lewis says free role play group. No one in my market center calls role play. You're in New Hampshire. Yeah, we have a thing that we do on Wednesdays. You could reach out to me and Jose. We'll send you the link where it's a group chat in Zoom where people can just come and role play. And we personally role play with you live. Remember, most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. We'll teach you the tactics. You just got to be brave enough to step up. I also have a role play group that you can join. You know, there's a fee for that. And then if you partner with us, it's free. Arazu, new agent here. Would you suggest getting the presentation down first? No. So what I would propose or suggest is that's like getting ready to get going, possibly provided that everything works out and like, you know, the sky is crystal blue and the temperature is perfectly right. What that is if you're not careful, it's just a mechanism for hiding out. So what I would propose is start prospecting immediately. Because let me ask you a question. The moment that you set an appointment, are you going to become incredibly resourceful on figuring out how to do it? Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you're going to come to people like me and Aaron during the role plays, and you're actually going to come up with real life situations versus situations that you're imagining in your head that are going to happen that never end up happening.
Yeah. And I think the problem is our current kind of, you know, our education system, the way that we understand it is built to cause you to imagine that learning something is like gathering information is the purpose of learning.
Doing.
It's not. It's doing. So the purpose of learning is to learn about the thing so you can learn to do the thing and actually do the thing. So if you're not doing the thing, you haven't learned. So what's really true is you should be, yes, watching, listening, you know, role playing and doing it simultaneously, not watching, listening, role playing, watching, listening, role playing for 6 months and not doing anything. Okay.
You have to do it.
You have to do it. Martin says, hey, I got it. Overthink things. Yeah, most of us do. I get it. Always have I find that the people that are most successful produce the most favorable outcomes. They have a penchant for action. They do, right? Best evening times to prospect. Well, ask yourself a question. If somebody wanted to talk to you in the evening, what time would they have to call you? Probably between the hours of 6 and 8 with a high degree of probability. Now you have to recognize you get paid to interrupt people. I'm going to interrupt you in the morning when I call you, when you're taking your kids to school. I'm going to interrupt you in the evening when you're making, you know, dinner for the kids. So I wouldn't overthink it, you know, just be like, hey, if somebody wanted to reach me, what times? Aaron,
Well,
what do you suggest?
even here, Aaron, what I do is if I don't have any appointments, what do I do with my time? I literally fill it with phone calls. So if I don't have any appointments, I'm not being like, oh, I'm going to wait till 6 o'clock because that's a better time. No, if I don't have any appointments at 3 o'clock, I am going to be making phone calls from 3 to 7:30. If I don't have
you
any
don't
appointments
perceive it in your mind as like, oh, I'm done with that for the day.
No, I'm not.
I
I'm
think
not
most
like,
agents think about it that way. They're like, oh, whew, I got that out of the way.
no, I'm looking at it like every opportunity that I get, whether it's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, if I have an open slot in my calendar, I am using it to follow up on the people that I am working on getting a contract signed from them.
Yeah, 100%. So drop in the chat if this is helpful to you. Drop in the chat. Let's go. Let's grow. That's what we do. We give you the good, not the BS. Okay. So one of the things that we can give you just as an example, real quick, just a taste, you know what I mean? A little sprinkle of some flavor, some sabor, is let's say somebody says to Jose, like, hey, I already have an agent. You guys hear this all the time. I already have an agent. We're good. What can you say to that?
So me personally, or you?
Either one of us can do it, but you can.
Okay.
After you,
All
sir.
right.
After you.
Yeah. So what I would say is, look, Aaron, I'm not sure if you're open to this.
Yeah.
What a lot of sellers do before they end up committing to an agent is they typically take the time to interview a couple different agents to get different opinions about price, make sure that they're getting top dollar, commission, make sure that they're getting the best commission structure, and also marketing. Is that something that you're open to?
That's right. And the reason why we're doing it that way from a tactical perspective, notice he didn't disagree. He didn't try to like make the other agent look bad. It's like, yeah, dude, I get that. And you know what we oftentimes find, because I know ultimately this is a business decision about who can help you net the most and do it quickly and efficiently. And as such, it usually makes sense to get an additional opinion with regards to price, commission, and marketing strategy. I'm curious, do you think that would be helpful or useful to you in some way? Me and Jose have both seen people that are like, dude, this guy's like family to me. When you say price, commission, they're like, well, we're not that close. So yeah, I'm open to another opinion. So these are within these little, watch, that little mastery of that, right, is the difference between 10 listings from a source that says I already, got somebody, and 0. So this is why it's so important, guys, that whether it's with us, you have a community that you can go to apply what it is that you're learning, and that you're getting the best guidance, the best information for the marketplace that we're in right now, the context of the market that we're in right now. So let's see, I'm looking here. Another thing that we can talk about briefly, because I'm noticing our time, is you can only grow to the proportion that your systems will allow you to. You can only grow to the proportion that your systems will allow you to. So let's say you listen to me and Jose's guidance. You dial in that morning schedule. You dial in that schedule that we just described. You eliminate all distractions. You're role playing twice a day. You're prospecting. You start to generate business. Well, 65% of everybody on this call grew up in families that live paycheck to paycheck. So because of that, we heard things like money doesn't grow on trees. Eat all the food on your plate. A penny saved is a penny earned. Or the worst of them all, if you want something done right, you need to do it yourself. So what ends up happening is you end up with cash spurts instead of cash flow. So you start doing what we're telling you, and you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, this stuff is working. Oh my gosh, I got like 3 listings. Oh my gosh, I have like 3 or 4 pendings. This is amazing. And then you stop all of the activity, the PLAN, the prospect lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate deals that got you all that business to service the business. And then you go down the water, the roller coaster. You're like, yay, this is great. I just made like 20K. This is awesome. And then you find yourself 90 to 120 days later with no listings and no pendings. And you have to start all over again. Okay. So if you want to avoid that, you need to create systems that allow you to list property in high volume. That includes listing coordination, transaction coordination. There's no reason that everybody on this call couldn't be utilizing a listing coordinator or transaction, like 0. You just have to give up a little bit of money, and it isn't even that much. In any marketplace around the States, in the United States, I don't know, $300 to $500 for somebody to service a pending. If you find yourself saying, I could just do it myself and save the money, stop it. It's the wrong thinking mentally. Okay. Ask yourself a question. How many people do you know that are super successful and have 0 employees? None. Okay. Stop thinking about your business as a cash grab, trying to rip out as much cash. Question to ask yourself is, am I selling something or am I building something? Okay. So you have to have these systems in place.
Well, I think too, when it really clicked for me is I had the wonderful fortune of shadowing a top producing agent very early on in my career. And what I saw him do was saw him show up to the office 7 or 7:30. He started prospecting, set a couple of appointments, basically went on an appointment, took a listing, grabbed that contract, gave it to his assistant. His assistant started processing it, got back on the phone, set some more appointments, went on another listing appointment, brought it back, gave it to his assistant, and started prospecting again. And when I saw that, what it made me realize, I'm like, oh, that's my job. My job is literally to go out and get the meat and bring it back for somebody else to cook it. Not only that, but I took some economics classes in college, and they came across this principle called opportunity cost. And what that principle taught me was that if you want to make X amount of dollars, like $100 an hour, let's say that was your goal, to make $100 an hour, that means that you have to delegate anything else that you can pay somebody else less money to do. So for example, could you pay somebody to answer the phone for less than $100 an hour? Absolutely. Could you pay somebody to put a for sale sign less than $100 an hour? Absolutely. Could you pay somebody to basically prepare a pre-listing package for you? Could you pay somebody to upload an MLS listing for less than $100 an hour? Yes. The problem with the real estate industry, and this is not the same in any other industry, just the real estate industry, is that we think that we have to do everything ourselves, and we think that we have to wear every single hat. So with that being said, you're running around installing a Supra, you're running around installing a for sale sign, which is a $20 task. You're never going to get to $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour if you're stuck doing $5 tasks, $10 tasks. Instead, you have to learn how to delegate some of these tasks so that you can focus on the tasks that bring in the most amount of revenue, which is plan, prospect, lead follow-up, appointments, and negotiate contract. If you can focus 80% of your time on those things and delegate almost everything else, you are going to have a more predictable business where your business is not fluctuating up, fluctuating down. It's going to be more of a steady stream of income, which is going to make it a lot more sustainable for you.
That is all true, team, because what I'm aware of is the exchange. We all are making exchanges. The first exchange we made is time for money. It's not a bad exchange. We all make those exchanges. We just need to make sure that we're being compensated appropriately for our time. And the way you do that is by becoming more, adding more value, right? Learning new skills, and you'll be compensated more for your time.
Yeah.
The shift that most people never get to is begin to trade money for time. And that's what me and Jose are talking about, right? Hiring somebody for a task that's between $100 an hour. Because when I was, banging, doing 100 deals a year, 10 years in a row, 200 deals a year twice, what I became aware of is my time on the phone was $750 to $1,000 an hour.
Imagine that.
Bro, anything less than that, I should be willing to buy my time back for $100, for $200, for $300, for $400, right? So I know that the internal barrier to that is the fear of there not being enough. But what we're telling you is that until you address that, you will perpetually be at a plateau of transaction volume. You'll never kind of break through, right? 80% of accomplishing anything is psychology, 20% is mechanics. There's usually an emotion that's stopping you and blocking you from doing the things that logically make sense, because everybody on this call is smart. So it's not a question of if we're saying is logical to you. It's just an issue of why.
So here's a recap of what we just covered here today. A recap of what we just covered here today is, number one, if you want to produce outcomes that are unfavorable that are very favorable in your eyes, you got to adapt, meaning that when the marketplace shifts, you cannot continue to do the things that you've been doing that worked in previous markets. The other thing that I would say is, on top of adapting, you have to be willing to listen to people that are succeeding at a very high level and be able to make adjustments that they are making. That includes sources like life events. It includes sources like pay per click. It includes sources like pay per lead. Recap is you have to focus on the listing side as well too. All of the money is made. We're just doing a quick rehab of everything that we've covered, Aaron.
Yep.
You have to be able to follow a schedule. You have to be able to treat the business like a real business. You have to be willing to delegate things as well too. You have to be willing to have a schedule that is conducive to producing the outcomes that you want to produce. You have to learn what to say and how to say it. What else, Aaron, would you say?
Yeah. Again, getting clear that this is like a season of dirt. You know what I mean? You got to put in a lot of time and energy and effort, because the amount of transactions are just less. And how important it is to be operating with the right data, guys. So we just wanted to give you a flavor and a feel for what we're going to be doing at the Do More Deals Summit. Me and Jose do not do these events for us. We do these events to equip all of you to be able to get your unfair share of the business. And just a quick little glimpse of who is going to be in the room, because my life has changed dramatically because of relationships. It's because of proximity. It's because of attending events. I met Jose at an event.
Yeah.
I met Angel Garcia at an event. I met Pace Morby at an event. So what I'm aware of is we don't do this for us. We do it to create value for you guys and to really equip you with everything you need. So here's what we're going to do. In February, the 13th to the 14th, and don't tell me oh, it's Valentine's Day. I'm you still believe in Santa Claus, bro? You trying to build something? What are we doing? You know what I mean? You're going to stop for the Easter Bunny? So the 13th to the 14th, we're doing the Do More Deals Summit. We have brought together a lineup of guides. So let me ask everybody in the chat a question. If you could hang out with me and Jose on a regular basis, do you think it would have a positive impact on your business? Yes or no? Yes 100%. Or yes? Yeah. So who we're going to be having in the room, we have Leo Perea, who's the CEO of EXP. He was the #1 real estate agent within the EXP within the Keller Williams brand, number one. Okay. He has built software that he has sold to MLS systems. He will be in the room. We have Pace Morby, bro, who has the number one creative finance book in the country, because me and Jose, as you could see, we want to equip agents to be able to add more value than anybody else so they could get their unfair share. Okay. He's going to be teaching agents sub 2, because there's opportunities there that we're not being able to take advantage of because we lack the data. We lack the information. We have Ryan Secco. Ryan Secco is the vice president of Cardone Capital. 14,000 doors. Okay. I know all you guys' eyeballs went up when Jose said 57. 14,000 doors. Okay. $4 billion portfolio. We have the founder of the Enzo Dialer, which many of you guys use because we've been recommending it to you. He's going to be in the room. You can ask him whatever you want about the TCPA rule changes, about how to use the dialing system. We have Jose.
He was saying we have Jose, who has basically sold close to 1,000 homes, owned 57 rentals, and is selling over 100 homes a year in today's current market in California and grossing over $2 million in commissions. You're going to have Aaron Novello there, who has sold close to 2,000 or over 2,000 properties in his career, that sold around 200 units a couple years in a row, and about 150 units year after year, and over 100 units a year for over 10 years in a row. Not only that, but he coaches some of the top agents across the country, including myself. He was the coach that helped me get to the level that I want to be in. We're going to have people like Jessica Nelson, who's a powerhouse in Texas as well too.
Yeah, Jessica moved from one marketplace to another, and in her first calendar year in a brand new marketplace, didn't know a soul, did 52 transactions. I was coaching her personally through that. We have Justin, my tax guy. You guys want to save money on taxes? Get in a room with somebody who can actually save you money on taxes, okay? Because H&R Block isn't cutting it. All right. We have Lars. Lars owns Real Estate B School. He he has almost 2,000 agents in his organization. He was in Gary Keller's top 100, $2.6 million a year in GCI. And he only worked in that business 58 days a year. Guys, world class. Whatever you are, I'm telling you, this could be the difference between like 2025 getting it for you and being fantastic and strong, or like maybe it's the time where I'm not in the business anymore. Okay. You must get proximity. I don't care what you are doing, get in the room. We've made it so inexpensive based on the lineup. We've dropped the link in the chat. We want to see you there, bro. We want to see you come up to us, say what's up, and we want to be able to pour into you more and more, because we just gave you a little taste. We're going to be going in depth in everything that we're just discussing. And we actually left 2 things off that we were going to talk about today because we ran out of time. So we'd love to see you. You see the link there. I dropped it in the chat. Let's open it up for some Q&A while me and Jose have some time. We have maybe let's do 10 minutes of Q&A, and then I know we both got to bounce.
Agreed.
So what questions? What's the cost to attend? If you're not partnered with us, it's only $250. That's ridiculous for that lineup, just so you know.
It's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida as well too.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Mm-hmm. Come hang out with us.
It'll be fun.
Questions you got? Oh, it'll be beyond fun. It'll be next level. It has the
not only that, but we'll teach you how to do more deals, which I think that's what everybody is looking for. Okay, how do I do more deals in 2025? And our lineup is designed to teach you what is working today. Now, here's what you can do. Like, sometimes you get people that are like, hey, I'm going to teach you this, and they haven't actually done the thing that they're trying to teach you. You can verify all this. Look me up on Zillow, look up the production. The production is there. It's all verifiable. You'll see that majority of the business is listing sold. So this is real people doing real business in today's marketplace.
Yeah. So Arazu asked, hopefully I said your name right. Is this for everybody or just our team? It's for everybody, bro. We welcome everyone, right?
We're an equal opportunity employer.
That's exactly You're right. You should come get your ticket, bro.
What else?
What other questions you guys got for us? Questions, comments, concerns, observations, hallucinations?
I think everybody wants to know. I'm married. I got 2 kids, guys.
Come on. But I called you the other day and you said that. I got a question for you. You're like, yeah, dude, I'm married. I was like, that's funny. Jessica is like, yo, it's cheap. I just paid $25K to go to GrowthCon. Yep, it's true. we're putting on that caliber.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, guys, truthfully, like whether it's with us or anybody else, if you're not willing to invest in your own, like in yourself, like nobody's gonna be able to help you, bro.
Yeah. Not only that, but literally events changed my life. I got to meet some of my best friends. Angel Garcia was the best man at my wedding. And I met him through an event in San Jose, and we hit it off and became like great friends after that. You know, I met Aaron at an event as well too. So a lot of the people that have had some of the largest impacts in my life, I have met by attending events. So the information is great that you're going to receive. The networking and the people that you have the possibility to connect with will change your life. I attended an event, and then back then, Angel taught me this one thing. He's like, hey, I was calling for sale by owners back then. And he goes, have you ever called somebody on a make me move? I'm like, what's a make me move? He's like, oh, there's this thing on Zillow that if you check off and it says make me move, which means that they put a certain price that if you offer them that price and they would move. And I'm like, I've never heard of that. They never taught me that. And I call it. And within the first week of calling, bro, I land a listing. And at that time, commissions were a lot lower. It was like 12 to 13K. I was like, oh my God, that is unbelievable. And it was great, you know, but that was a relationship that I met at an event.
Yeah, and worth whatever the cost was, it was to go to the event. Brian says, hey, would you consider for rent by owners? Yeah, it's a decent lead.
100%. 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
rent by owners actually a lot of times have multiple properties. And if you call them, they may end up renting that property, but they may be considering selling other properties. Not only that, but some of these people are whales. They're like 10, 15, 20 different properties. These are definitely people that you want to build relationships with that I would 100% recommend reaching out to and staying in contact with and basically building relationships with these individuals. 100%.
Love it. What other questions you guys got for us?
In order to achieve different results, guys, you got to start thinking differently.
Yeah. And you got to behave differently. Like to think that you're going to keep doing the same thing and like get a different result. Like that's not an accurate assessment of reality.
Agreed. 100%.
It's just not. What other questions you guys got, guys?
What else?
Or gals?
Who's going? Just drop in the chat.
Yeah, drop in the chat who's going to be there. So we know who to come up to and say what's up to, spend some time with.
Was this helpful to everybody, by the way?
Mario says he's there. What's up, brother? Look forward to seeing you. He's coming all the way. Oh, bro. Yeah. Bro, I wish I had something to play music right now. Bruno's going to be in the room. I love it, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Let's grow, baby. Look forward to seeing you, man. Will it be in a recorded event? No, sir. You got to be in the room, Christopher. That's how that works, baby.
You got to be there.
How many lead sources should an agent have in today's market? I don't know, 4 to 7 probably.
And I think it depends on your goal as well, too. You know, if your goal is to do 3 deals, I mean, you can get away with one source, you know?
Yeah.
I think that question is relevant to what your goal is. If your goal is to do 100, then it's going to require different ones. And it's also specific by market. There are certain markets where you can do 100 deals just based on one source. And there's certain markets that you can't do 100 deals just based on one source. So that question, it is more of like a tailored answer to your specific situation.
Exactly. Scott O'Donnell, what's up? He's coming from Massachusetts, baby. Look forward to seeing you.
Love it. Love it.
He's building out there. Love it. Let's see. Yep. Jessica's going to be in the room. She's going to be presenting. You want to see her present? She's a rock star. Yeah, Jose already gave the information about finding divorcees. You know what I mean? You could pull a list and you can call, dude, just list it, just sold. Building relationships with attorneys, bro. That's like old school. You just gotta like, you know, Jose sent them, I don't know, he did a program for like a year where he sent them cookies and stuff and then would go to the office and spend some time with them. What is Ricky telling you, bro?
How did you know it was Ricky?
Because I can see him leaning back. Will you guys be having a similar event in California? I don't know. Who cares? You should come to this one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what I would.
That's what I would do. I used to fly around, guys, for the first, like, I don't know, 10 years. Fidel, what's up, brother? Look forward to seeing you there, man. So I still do this, guys. I personally attend 3 to 4 events a year. I've done it since I'm 26 years old. Okay. It has served me extremely well. And again, you just have to ask yourself a question, like, what are you really doing? Like, am I like really building something? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm my biggest asset, I got to pour into myself. There's no other way around it. And if you show me where somebody like puts their money, I show you where their heart is. My heart was in personal growth and development and continues to be. It's a big portion of, kind of the ledger every year in terms of what we're doing. Got to keep pouring into myself to make myself more valuable over time. What's up, Dave K? We'll be present and accounted for. Let's go.
I love it. Extremely helpful. I had the pleasure to meet both of you at Park Regency last year. I love it.
Let's go.
Any quick tips on finding? We talked about that. Chris Segura. How many lead sources will this be recorded? Would you consider for rent by owners? I love it.
So Brian says, hey, would you say cold calling in real estate is more common today? No, I mean, I think it's about the same as it was previously. I think what's happened is technology has come about, which makes it a little bit more challenging for people to pick up. That's why making sure you have like really good tools like the Enzo dialer is really, really important. But eventually, like, everybody has to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, what I have found that served me very well, I went into the marketplace every day to look for people that needed my help. In all of your guys' market right now, somebody made a decision to list and somebody made a decision to buy. Your job is to go and find them. I remember I was in front of a room and I said to them, hey, I made 7,000 contacts this year. I got 142 to say yes. Now, if you multiply 142 times 10,000, that's a lot of money. So just, being aware of that and recognizing, I think it's still very much a part of what we do, for sure. And will continue to be as time progresses.
Perfect.
All right, team. Well, listen, we appreciate you. We look forward to spending some more time with you. If this is valuable, keep coming back to the well. We'll keep pouring out. And we're just here to help you to do more deals, guys. That's all we want to do. So go be great. Let's go. Let's grow. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, guys. Bye.
Bye.